solid through solid. Imagine slowly melting one physical object through another. An illusion so clean it looks as if it's trick photography even close up. Impale is a full illusion set that fits right in your pocket. It is the best work to date by Nicholas Lawrence and Jason Yu. Imagine getting a Sharpie marker and gently touching it to a deck of cards, only to have it start sinking like a hot knife melting through butter. But it's not just the card case. It's every single card in the box that the Sharpie goes through. Right when they try to process the impossible visual in their head, you pull out the Sharpie and dump out the entire deck of cards. Everything is examinable.
The weird thing is every single card, there's no hole on them. I mean, just scrub all the cards out. And what is even weird is this box is completely fine.
That's right. The Sharpie marker, case and cards can all be placed in your spectator's hands to try and make sense of the miracle. This is Impale.
Hey guys, Herman here from Sans Minds Magic. Now that you're watching this DVD, I want to first off thank you for picking up this project and supporting us here. Now this effect allows you to penetrate an entire deck of cards with an ordinary Sharpie marker. Now it's not just an effect, it's this impossible illusion that fits right in your pocket, always ready to go. Now it was created by two of our in-house artists, very creative minds here, Nicholas Lawrence and Jason Yu. Now the beautiful thing about this effect is how clean and visual everything looks, and it happens inches away from the spectator's eyes. And at the very end, you can hand everything out for the spectators to examine. The pen, the case, the cards, and then you can just move on to the rest of your card routine. Now you received everything that you need to get you started and perform this effect. We'll be going over what you receive, what to do with it, and how to perform with it, along with some tips and subtleties to help you with practicing and performing the effect. So guys, without further ado, let's get into the effect. Now I have here a normal deck of cards, and I actually want you to feel the deck and make sure that it's a normal deck of cards. And feel the weight of it. There are actually cards inside as well, but it's not the deck that's special. What we have here is actually what's in my pocket that's special. A diabolical Sharpie marker that can pierce through anything. Be careful. I know it looks like a normal Sharpie marker, but check it out. Now what we're gonna do is, I think this can go through anything, even a deck of cards. Go ahead and check that out. And you see, there's actually no holes in the cards either. I know it's impossible, but you can also check out the card box and make sure that there's nothing in there as well. See if you can actually pierce through the deck or the card case with the Sharpie marker. Not possible. Alright, so in this section we're going to go over the secret and working of this effect, along with all the components to make this illusion happen. So, we have this. This is the case, and we also have a Sharpie marker. This is normal. This is not. So if you take a closer look, you can see that there are several components to this gimmick. We first have this, which is provided for you. So we have a magnet attaching these two flaps over here, and they come together to form into a, I suppose, two sides of the box, along with this flap over here. So if you were to push through a Sharpie marker, as you can see, it melts through, and that's because on the other side, what's happening here is it's going through the gimmick like that, and the flap is opening up. So you'll be receiving this as one piece, and that's one part of the gimmick. Another part is this. This is going to be black art and creating the illusion that they can see the entire box when the magical moment happens. And there's two magnets here to keep it aligned, and we'll be going over the details in a bit. And in the box, we have something inside that's magnetized so that, you know, this doesn't move around too much when you're ready to perform the effect. And this gets slapped on top. So a very brief walkthrough as to what's happening is you're basically going to be lifting up very slightly and moving this card box over to the side like that, exposing the flap over here. So when you're ready to perform the effect and you have a Sharpie marker on you, with black art, right now of course this is not optimal because I have a white shirt over here, but if I were to perform this, it would be in front of my jacket or something black. And then as you can see, you can't really see what's going on here. It looks like it's just being hidden, or it looks like it's just could be my jacket. And you can see a very nice visual over here. And when you're ready to perform the effect, all you gotta do is melt through that Sharpie through the entire deck. And what's happening here is this right now. So you have the actual deck over here being covered by your hand, and it's going through the gimmick like that. And then once it's out, the flap goes back and retracts back to the gimmick. You push it all the way so it's flushed to the deck in the manner or in the action of opening the deck and revealing that all the cards are normal. And then you do a cleanup and all that fun stuff, but that's basically the working of the effect, and we'll be going over the details very shortly. So that's just a very brief walkthrough of how the illusion happens, the working of the gimmick, and what exactly is going on. Now for the details, we'll be going over that in the main handling, but in the next section, we're gonna be going over how to prep you to perform the effect. Okay, now to prepare for the effect, you're first going to need a few things. Now, these are the things that have been provided for you. You have a couple magnets over here. You have this with magnets. Of course, I want to remind you guys that everything I'm showing you over here are just prototypes, okay? So we have another piece over here that's black art. On the other side, there are two magnets, and they'll be attached to this on the other side of the tuck case, which we'll go into later. We have the gimmick itself with a side flap over here, top flap over there, and of course this goes through on the other side. That's what it looks like. And we have an empty tuck case, which we'll be going into in a little bit. So these are the things provided for you. These are the things you'll need to get yourself: double stick tape, scotch, transparent tape, a deck of cards that matches the gimmick, so in this case red rider backs, a white piece of paper, and also a pair of scissors. Now, once you have all these things in front of you, you're ready to firstly construct your tuck case. So you'll be moving everything aside, except for the deck of cards and the unfolded tuck case. So yours is flat right now, but what we're gonna do is we're basically gonna fold it into a normal tuck case box. And the reason that we provide this for you is because depending on where you live, they may not sell rider backs anymore. So first thing you'll need to do is put the deck of cards into the tuck case like that. Okay. Like that. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna fold the top part, the two little dog ears over here, and you're going to also fold in the flap like that. Okay, so your top part is good. Now it's time for the bottom part. Fold these two ears in like that. You're gonna place this side with the adhesive, as you can see over here, on top. Now it's not sticky right now, but you'll need to peel it, which you can do now. So once you peeled it, you can see the adhesive, you can feel the adhesive, it's sticky. And what you're gonna do is you're just gonna put the other side on top like that. And that's all there is to it. Now you have an ordinary red bicycle rider back tuck case for your deck. All right, so just fold in and make sure that it's broken in a little bit so it's easier to maneuver and manage when you are putting a deck into the box or taking it out. And these two things are going to be placed aside because your tuck case is now ready to go. The next thing we'll be working on is on the gimmick itself. Now, as you can see, the gimmick provided, all the hard work has been done already so that the Sharpie can go through. And there's a flap. However, what we're going to do is we're going to stick some magnets on here. That way it's easier for you to handle with the box. Now, we're not completely done with the box, but we'll get back to that later. Right now we're working with the tuck case. Now, you'll be taking your tape, you'll be taking your magnets, and what you're going to do is you're going to put one magnet over here and another magnet over there. But for now, let me just tape one magnet down. Okay? So that's on the inside over here. And as you can see, like that. And as you can see, there's some excess tape, which is fine because you have a pair of scissors, and you'll be trimming it off like that. Okay, so once one of the magnet is stuck on, all you're going to do is take another piece of tape and also take your other magnet. All right, you're just going to peel off one from the four that's been provided for you, and over here. Around there is a good place to stick it on. And I'm just gonna slap on that piece of tape like that. All right, and you don't have to worry about the orientation right now because we'll be worrying about that when we put the magnets in the tuck case, which is the next step once you have the two magnets over here like that. Okay, now you bring back that tuck case over here, and what's gonna happen is you're gonna open that tuck case up, put it on top of the flap so it's relatively aligned. And what's going to happen is you're going to line up with the tuck case like so, as you can see. So you can see the poker right there, same flap right over there, kind of aligned with the edge of the card case. And once it's like that, what you can do, if you want to be really safe, is take some of that tape that you had earlier and just tape the gimmick to the box just in case you're worried about it moving around too much or something. So there you go. Okay. Now we'll take the remaining two magnets, and what we're going to do is we're going to slap one like that, and it'll automatically attract to one side. And we'll take the other magnet, and we're just going to like that. Now you're going to take a Sharpie, and you're going to remember the orientation of the magnets before you slap it on and tape it onto the tuck case itself. So just take a Sharpie and just dab it one side, dab the other, and now that you know that this is the orientation of the magnets facing upwards, okay? Next we'll be taking that double stick, and what you do is take a fair amount so that you can cover the inside of this flap over here and over the magnets, okay? So just like this. On top of both magnets like that. And maybe just a little bit on the edge so that you can cover more of the area. Just like that. And that is looking wonderful. So now that you have the double stick tape covering the magnets, what you're going to do is bring that white piece of paper that you placed aside, and what you're going to do is basically cover this area with that white piece of paper. However, an easy way to do that is to basically trace the bottom of it. So since it's the same dimension as that flap over there, you can either use a pen or the Sharpie that you have at hand and just trace that out. And what you're going to do is you're going to cut it out to that trace that you just made. And I've already prepared one, and it looks like so. Okay, so here's the basic handling on how to perform this amazing illusion. Now you have all the components, the gimmick, all ready to go. Let's go over what to do in terms of preparation so you can perform this. So, first thing you'll need is a deck of cards. A normal one, as I've said in the gimmick instruction. And you have this already made underneath the deck, like so. Okay, so that's the orientation. Now you also have a tuck case that you have created already. And this goes in here with the back design, aligned with the back design of the case. Like that. So this is closed, so it looks like a normal deck. And of course there was that other black art piece over here to disguise or to hide the box when you are pushing over the gimmick. So you have this over here, and of course the magnets hold it in place. And what you also have is the gimmick itself over here. And that's going to be placed and aligned on top like so. Okay, so it looks like a normal card case if you're just handling it very freely like so. You can't even tell this is devious gimmick on top of this tuck case. But yeah, once this is on, you're ready to go. So with this in your hands right now, let's go over how to perform with this gimmick. So first thing that you need to do is, you bring out you need a Sharpie, of course, and that can be in your right pocket, and this deck of cards can be in your left pocket. So when you introduce yourself, when you're introducing what you do, you bring out the deck of cards and a Sharpie marker. Now you begin your presentation, and you can really take it wherever you'd like. Do a script for yourself, but what Jason likes to say is, for example, there's a normal deck of cards, you can feel it, they can touch it and make sure it's solid. And if you do choose to do that route and show that this deck of cards really is solid, what you can do is, so the first thing you do, you can show the back of the card case, make sure that there's nothing wrong with it, they can even feel it while you're holding it. Of course, you are keeping your fingers over here so that you're covering this flap over here and also pushing it in. So it looks like a normal card case. And it's always in a bit of motion so that they don't have a lot of time to grill your card case. And you're also bringing the attention over here. They can even feel this and make sure it's solid while you're covering the actual the flap itself over here, so they don't accidentally touch the flap. So they can feel it. They can even take out their hand and you can just slap it on them and make sure that's really solid. It's a solid piece. And even if this comes off very slightly, as long as it's in constant motion, no one's going to pay attention, because the attention is on how solid the deck is and how solid it feels. Because the effect is that one solid is going through another. Now in this moment, what you can do is introduce your Sharpie marker. Now what Jason likes to say at this point is, after they feel the deck and make sure it's solid, it's not the deck that's special, it's actually this pen. He likes to say this gag like, the Sharpie is actually sharp, be careful. Because basically we're doing a penetration effect, and the reason that we're able to do this is because it's sharp. Whatever you want to say in terms of your presentation. However, at this point, they'd be checking out the Sharpie and making sure that it's a normal Sharpie marker. Now in this case, I don't have anyone with me, so I was going to put it in my pocket, and while they're examining the Sharpie, that's when you prep the gimmick so that you're ready to do the penetration effect. So if you come down and take a closer look, you're going to re-grip from this, or however you're holding the deck, over to your right hand in overhand grip like so. However, you're holding it from this side, this edge, I suppose, of the card case. Okay, so you don't want it to end like that, otherwise you're not showing enough of it. You want to reveal as much as the face of the tuck case as possible, or the gimmick in this case. So at this point, what you're going to do is you're going to slightly lift up or drop down the deck a little bit so that you create a small opening or a small gap over here, almost like a thumb break. So it's easier for you to slide, okay? So that's all you're doing. You're lifting up the gimmick very slightly with a thumb, like that. You just need a very small gap, because what you're going to do at this point is you're going to shift over the entire deck along with the black art piece over here. And you're going to shift it over in the manner like so, in this fashion. And of course, this is all being covered with your right hand. So if I were to show you from an exposed angle with my fingers opened like so, what's happening is I'm lifting up very slightly so that the black art piece doesn't stick to the gimmick. And then I'm going to push with my other hand, with these fingers, I'm going to push over to my right like that, and then gripping the deck like so, okay? And in this position right now, this black art piece right now is covering the entire deck from the face like that. So this black art is what really helps sell the illusion, as if they can see the entire box still, because in front of black or dark clothing, you can't see what's going on. So now that you're in this position and you're gripping it like so, this black art piece gives you that flexibility in terms of angle. As you can see, like in front of black, it gives the illusion that you can see the entire deck because you can't see the deck itself that you're hiding with your palm. As long as you watch the windows and the gaps between your fingers, you're pretty good. Okay, you can even show this much of the case. All right, and that black art really helps sell the illusion. So be sure that when you are lifting up, it's enough so that you can slide the entire piece with the deck. Otherwise, if you expose too much of it like so, then your angles are not as good. So just be sure to open up enough space so that you can efficiently push it over with your fingers. Okay, and remember, all the attention is towards the Sharpie at the moment, so you have a lot of time to just push it over like so. So this is the position that you're in right now. To really break it down, my index finger is what's holding on to the corner of this gimmick, along with the corner of the actual deck itself. My middle finger, ring finger, and little finger are what's hiding the actual deck. And my thumb is gripped like so in this fashion. Okay, so I'm gripping the edge of this gimmick along with the corner of this deck. So if I were to show you from all angles, as you can see, I'm showing it like this. Holding it from underneath, it looks like that. And this is how I'm gripping the gimmick and the deck and hiding this deck itself. At this point, you take your Sharpie back, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna almost find like a soft spot and then just pierce right through like that, very slowly. You don't want to do this fast. What sells the illusion is how impossible it is, how this Sharpie marker is just melting through, and then pull it out. And at this point, you can hold on to the Sharpie. In this case, I'll be putting it in my pocket. Okay, and you're going to basically push everything flush to the deck that you're holding and hiding with your right hand. So you're gonna lightly or gently just grip onto this, so you're not, really forcing it in like that. Otherwise, the flap will go in like that. You want to maintain the shape so it still looks like the same deck that they're going to see. But you're going to push with your finger over here. You're gonna hold onto it, and you're gonna push like that from an exposed angle. It looks like so, and it's just gonna be flushed. One more time, real time. Sharpie goes straight through the deck, comes out, give the spectator the Sharpie, push it all flush in the action of showing the cards are normal. All right, so I actually want to take a couple steps back to when you are getting in the position to, penetrate the deck of cards with Sharpie marker. When they are examining the Sharpie marker and you're getting into position, when you're pushing the deck with the black art over to your other hand, just make sure that you're gripping it in the manner that I showed you. Because if you don't push it over all the way, so let's say around here, you do know there is a flap to this gimmick. So on the other side, it's not going to penetrate through because the deck is in the way. So be sure that you are actually pushing it all the way. And if you find out that it's not working, you can always have them examine the Sharpie again, give yourself a little more time to push it over, get in position so that this flap is functional. Now, also, another little bit of a detail in terms of talking about the gimmick itself is that when you are penetrating the deck like so, it's always great to be performing in this general angle, because from my angle, you would be able to see the gap through the flap. However, because you can still see a bit of the piece from this angle, it looks awesome. Now I'll show you from a different angle. It goes straight through and then back out like that. So essentially, your angles are almost 180, because if they look from that side and you're holding the deck, they can see more of the corner of the deck and the two flaps, so it sells the illusion that it's an entire deck, and you're not, it's not a shell or anything like that. Your worst angle is obviously from behind, over here, otherwise you can see that there's no flap from behind, and also from over there, they're not going to be able to see the effect very well. So the way that the gimmick works with the flap, they can see from the most optimal angle, and it just looks amazing, because it actually does look like a Sharpie marker is penetrating and melting through a deck of cards. So going back to the cleanup, you just finished pushing the gimmick over, flushed with the tuck case, and you're opening this flap. Be careful you're not just opening this one with the magnet, you're opening the entire flap. And at this point, we just show single cards from up here. We're peeling the cards to show, look, every single card here, there's no hole in it. And what you're doing right now is displaying that the cards are normal, even though they're holding Sharpie to examine. And at this point, you dump out all the cards behind this, as if it's a shield. What you're doing is you're concealing the cleanup of the gimmick over here, because you're going to let go of this gimmick, and you're going to basically kind of help pull it out from the back of the case over here, along with the rest of the cards. So it's going to look kind of like this. Using as a fan or shield, you're just kind of dumping everything out, letting go of the gimmick behind the tuck case as well. Make sure all the cards are out, like that, so you can show that the inside of the case. That way, it's examinable, and you can immediately hand this out. And to justify this, you're just dumping it all out so that they can see the case and look inside. There's nothing wrong with it. You can even hand it out so that you can make sure that there's no way that they can pierce it through. They even have the Sharpie marker so that they can try and do the effect themselves. So the case is in the spectator's hand. You're left with this right now. Bit of a mess, which is okay because you're just dumping out cards. The messier, the better. And what you're going to do now is you're going to basically try and align all the cards into your hand like that, and you'll be left with something kind of like this. Okay, so you have this flap over here, you have that magnetic card inside the deck as well, and all this stuff to clean up, which is fine. At this point, all you're going to do is you're going to fold in this flap. So you're going to lift up, and you have these two flaps to push in with your thumb like that. You can use this thumb over here with your right hand to push in like so, so it's folded up, and you just put the rest of the deck on top. That way there's nothing sticking out. So one more time, you're in a bit of a pickle over here, bit of a mess like that, let's say. You're going to regrip with your left hand all together. You're going to squeeze it in like that, and then in the action of squaring it, you're going to lift approximately where the gimmick is, push this in with your left thumb, push this in with your right thumb, so that it's closed up like so. All right, and it's okay that some of this is peeking because from the front they can't really see it, especially if you're bringing the attention back to the deck now and saying, look, all the cards, there's no hole in it. It's just a normal deck of cards. So at this moment where the attention is brought back to the deck of cards and making sure that it's really normal, they've already examined the box, they've examined the Sharpie, making sure that it doesn't penetrate each other. It's two really solid items, and the attention now is to playing cards where you're showing there's no hole in it. At this point, you can even hand out some packets to different spectators to make sure that there's nothing going on with the cards. You can't actually, it's not trick cards or anything like that. So once that's happening and all the attention is to the cards that you're handing out, maybe in packets, you can always just steal away the bottom portion of the gimmick as if they're jokers or even misdirection. I mean, no one's going to be looking at you, and you just pocket this and carry on with the rest of your card routine. With a normal deck of cards, an apparently normal card case, Sharpie marker, you can just take those back and just carry on with the rest of your card routine. Now, alternatively, let's say that you don't have a lot of people to hand out the packets. That's fine as well. At this point, you can always just have them pick a card, if that's going to be the next effect that you're showing. And then when they're looking at the card, you can always steal the gimmick on the offbeat, which is fine. Another option is, let's say that, you're going to carry on with the rest of your card routine. However, you just don't need the jokers. So you're just going to casually pocket the bottom few things, which is the gimmick and some cards, and it's going to look like this. It's like, oh, we don't need the jokers. And no one's going to question that because, usually people don't need the jokers. They don't actually need to look at the jokers. It's completely justified as long as it happens in the offbeat and it's very natural. And you're just like, oh, don't need the jokers. And just pick a card, blah, 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 blah. Remember a card, whatever it is that you're doing after the effect. So those are a couple ways for you to clean up and just put away the gimmick, out of sight, out of mind, and you just carry on with the rest of your card routine. Now again, this is such a beautiful illusion because it happens inches away from the spectator's eyes, and the thing is, you're penetrating an entire deck of cards that you're going to be using later on, and it's just so impossible. You're creating this impossible moment for your spectators to enjoy. So go out and blow some minds. Okay, so I want to leave you guys with a few tips to bear in mind when you are practicing and performing this effect. Now, first off, as you know, the angles are wide for this effect, and that's because of the black art. And in order to effectively use black art, you of course need something black to be worn. So be aware of your outfit when you are performing this effect. Something like this shirt, which is white, would not be ideal because then the black art piece that's covering the actual deck wouldn't be effective. It wouldn't be covered up with the black. So you have to wear some sort of black outfit, maybe a black t-shirt, black dress shirt, or just, do it in front of a jacket that's black. Like in this case, I would be tilting my body if I really wanted to perform in this current outfit. So be aware of that when you are performing this effect, black art. Okay, so the next tip I have for you is on the cleanup. Now, I've already gone through a couple cleanups for you to take away with and, use to get rid of the gimmick. However, let's just say you're in a scenario where the people's attention is more on the cards. You can actually just not even hand out the card case in that case if people don't really care much for the card case. Maybe because they were already convinced before how solid the card case is that they don't want to inspect it and they actually want to see the cards. In that case, don't even do a cleanup. You can just leave the gimmick on the card case, put it in your pocket, and move on with the rest of your card routine. Now, of course, you still have that gimmick card in deck, the one with the magnets to keep it aligned on the card case. However, as long as you do an effect that doesn't involve the bottom card, you should be fine. Let's say they pick a card. At that point, maybe you can even ditch the card while on the offbeat and they're looking at the card, if you really want to clean up from the deck. However, if you want to be bold, you can just do whatever card routine you want with that gimmick inside, because it's just a single card. It's not going to hinder any of your effects. So that's an alternative idea. Now let's say you do choose to do the cleanup and you're left dirty because the gimmick and everything is on the bottom of your deck right now, and they're examining the card case, they're examining the pen, and you want to show that the cards are normal. Like I said before, in the main handling, you can always give some of the packets over to different spectators for them to examine, or you can just again move on to your next card routine as long as it doesn't involve the bottom cards. If you want to be bold, you can still handle the deck technically as long as you don't reveal the bottom of it, and just handle it naturally like it really is a deck of cards. And it really is. So just be bold with it, be comfortable with the deck, and move on to your next card routine. And then just find a spot where you can ditch the gimmick if you do want to do so on the offbeat. Maybe they're, again, showing the cards to their friends, you're handing out the card, maybe they're shuffling some of the cards, and then at that point you can just casually ditch the gimmick. Now the last tip I have for you, as with all effects, is to practice, practice, practice. Now be sure that you practice in front of a mirror. Now I've mentioned before that your angles are wide, so everyone in front of you is going to be able to see the amazing impossible miracle. However, when you're practicing in front of a mirror, you're going to be able to catch little things like, the cracks between your fingers that you're exposing, if you're exposing the deck and stuff like that, or maybe, even when you're getting into position and you're pushing the deck and making underneath your hand, and making sure that looks natural, that you're not, too fidgety with it. Things like that, when you're practicing in front of a mirror, you're going to be able to catch throughout your practice sessions. But be sure to practice without a mirror as well. You're only using a mirror for nitpicking little details that you need to watch out for when you're performing this effect. However, if you practice in front of a mirror, then that will help you build the confidence you need in order to perform this in real life situations. So guys, those are a few tips for you to bear in mind. Alright guys, this is it. This is where we wrap it all up. Now be sure to remember all the tips and subtleties that I went over in the handling. Be sure to practice this in front of a mirror so that you can get your angles right and just make this look very natural, fluid, and just, make this look like an impossible moment. And it's almost like a puzzle because of how impossible it is. It happens inches away from the spectator's eyes, and then you hand out all the pieces for them to try and figure out, but they can't. And that's the beautiful thing about it, because everything is examinable at the end of the effect. Now that it's in your pocket, you can always use it as an opener for your card routine, or just as a standalone effect, and create this magical, brief moment for your spectators to enjoy. Now, as always, we've got some amazing stuff coming out from Sam's Mind, so be sure to follow us either on our social media or our mailing list. I encourage you to do that because we've got some amazing stuff I'm really excited to share with you guys. So keep in touch with us. Again, my name is Herman, and I'm going to see you next time.